Hello and welcome to the fifth week lecture on international logistics management. This week we will be talking about supply chain integration. And supply chain integration is one of the best strategies for enhancing your business efficiency. So we will explore how businesses can streamline their operations, reduce the cost, and improve customer satisfaction through effective integration of different strategies. Okay, that we can provide the supply to the demand and get the products cross and reach the customers. So understanding supply chain integration, so the definition is that this is a process of aligning and coordinating various supply chain activities and functions. Okay, so we make sure that they are in sync, that they are aligned. So it's just like, for example, when you do not drive, especially here in Los Angeles, and you wanted to go from one place to another, there's no such and you do not want to take Uber or Lyft, okay? Because Uber or Lyft I'd say that would be the most efficient way of traveling from one destination to the next destination here in Los Angeles, but um, it's not cost effective. Okay, it may be very efficient because it will deliver you and let you go to your destination in the fastest and most efficient way, but the cost, especially if you take Uber or Lyft during peak hours of traffic, the cost is just too much. So it's not a very cost effective means of transportation. So if you want to save money and at the same time get to your destination in the fastest way and the easiest way, then you will have to integrate the schedule of the buses and the trains. Okay, let's so for example, if you are traveling from um, I would say Orange County. Let's just say Buena Park. So how and then um, you want to go to uh, here at 323 Wilshire Boulevard. Okay, so what's gonna happen? So you're gonna choose the train that will go to Buena Park faster and that will be cheaper. Either you take the Amtrak or you take the Metrolink. Okay, now Metrolink, there are more chances because there are more Metrolink trips to the Union Station. There are lesser Amtrak trips, although Amtrak is also more expensive than Metrolink. Second is, but Amtrak is more comfortable. Okay, but the question is, it's not a question of who has more trips, which one is more expensive, which one is cheaper, or which one has more comfortable seats. The question there is, which one gets you fastest to Koreatown at the cheaper cost. So you will have to coordinate the time schedule of the trains. So if Amtrak will arrive at 8 o'clock, but then the next train from Union Station to Wilshire and Vermont is at 9 o'clock, is it going to be like efficient? Is it going to be cost effective? Okay. And then there's a Metrolink train that will arrive at 8:30. There's also another Metrolink train that will arrive at 8:55. So which one? If Metrolink is cheaper and you have shorter time to wait for the 9 o'clock train that will bring you to Wilshire and Vermont, then you might as well take the Metrolink train because unlike with Amtrak, you pay more and you will arrive at 8 o'clock. You have 1 hour of waiting for the next train to travel from Union Station to Wilshire and Vermont Station. Now, if you take the Metrolink, it is cheaper, and at the same time, it cut it cuts down, it shortens your waiting time from 1 hour only to 30 minutes. So if you arrive at 8:30, then that means you only have 30 minutes of waiting for the 9 o'clock train from Union Station to to Wilshire and Vermont station. What about the 8:55 Metrolink? That's also Metrolink. It's also cheaper. And at the same time, it cuts down your waiting time to only 5 minutes because it will arrive at 8:55 at Union Station, and the next train from Union Station to Wilshire and Vermont Station is leaves at 9 o'clock. Do you think that's yes? It cuts down your waiting time. Yes, it's also cheap because it's also a Metrolink, cheaper compared to the Amtrak train. However, if you only have a 5 minute window to transfer from your stop, from the platform where your Metrolink stopped and the platform where your red train will leave from Union Station to Wilshire and Vermont Station, if you can run and you can make out of the 5 minutes, that's good. But however, there is a risk because what if you cannot make it on time and then the red train from Union Station to Wilshire and Vermont has already left? You will be left behind and you will have to wait for another hour for the next red line train that will go to Wilshire and Vermont Station. So I think the 8:30 train is the best option, the most efficient and the most cost effective, the cheapest option. So 8:30, at least you don't have to rush to go to the platform where the red line train will travel. And then by the time that you take the red line train from Union Station, you got to Wilshire and Vermont Station. Now, from Wilshire and Vermont Station, you need to walk for 10 minutes. Okay, you need to walk for 10 minutes to get to WCU at 3333 Wilshire Boulevard. However, there is a bus that would really stop in front of WCU. Now, because you took the red line train, you can actually take a bus for free. Okay? Because the gap of transferring from train to the bus is less than 2 hours, then that means your transfer ride will be for free. So you can take the bus because the bus will take you to WCU in 3 minutes, while walking would take you 10 minutes, So it would, again, it would be cost effective because you don't need to pay extra, and then it will bring you faster. But what if there is no bus and the next bus is available in 15 minutes? Are you going to wait for the bus that will arrive in 15 minutes, or are you just going to walk? Of course, you will just walk because walking will take you there 10 minutes instead of waiting for the bus for 15 minutes and another 3 minutes for the bus ride. So the walking choice is much faster and more efficient. That's how supply chain integration will help us. It will help us make plans. It will help us combine strategies. It will help us choose different strategies and methods that would help get the products faster to their destination, that would help get your products delivered faster to their destination. So the goal is to create a seamless, efficient flow of goods and informations in the cheapest possible cost. Okay. Now, types of supply chain integration, we have an internal integration, of course. There's also external, and from their different from their words, internal means it's within, external means outside, which means it involves other parties. So internal integration is the coordination between different departments within the company, such as procurement, production, and distribution. Okay, so that's what in if you are producing tables and chairs, even if you have 1,000 manpower that can make tables and chairs, if the procurement has not bought the raw materials to make tables and chairs, what will the people do? Okay, nothing, because there are no there are no raw products to work on. Now, even if you have a full ample supply of raw materials, but you only have 10 manpower to make the chairs. Do you think they can still finish 1,000 chairs by the end of the month if there's only 10 of them working to make chairs? Even if your raw materials are all there, complete, stocked in the storeroom. No. So there should be like a coordination, a collaboration of work between the departments in your company so that the production will be able to meet the deadline and will be able to fulfill um, its promise. Okay, if you promise 1,000 shares by the end of the month, you need to have the procurement working on the raw materials, make them available. You need to have the production people ready to work. Nobody should be absent. If you have calculated one person 10 shares a day, then you should know how many work staff you need to have to be working a day. And then the distribution, your cars, your trucks, your drivers should be ready, so that once these chairs are produced or once these products are finished, then they can easily be distributed. That is internal integration, a coordination and a smooth workflow and understanding, working as a team, okay, from the different departments of your or within your company. Now, external integration, this now, as I've said, external, it now involves working with other companies, working with other suppliers, working with other vendors, okay? So that means if I am procurement, I am now going to have an external integration with my suppliers because procurement, from the word procure, that means they will have to produce or that they will have to supply the raw materials. Okay. Now, if I do not make the raw materials within my company, if I have to outsource the raw materials outside my company, then that is what we call external integration. Then, if I have a deadline of 1,000 shares by the end of the month, and because I have a deadline of 1,000 shares by the end of the month, then that means I have a requirement to have 20 tons of plastic ready for these 20 tons of plastic to be made into 1,000 chairs, then I should have it ready. If my supplier cannot give me 20 tons, if my supplier can only give me 15 tons, then that means I lack 5 tons. If I lack 5 tons of plastic, then that means the production cannot complete 1,000 chairs. Then that will be a big problem. So that's why I should be able to work with the external company, another company, the company who makes the plastics, to make sure to deliver 20 tons by this time. Otherwise, if you cannot deliver 20 tons by now, we will not be able to fulfill our goal of 1,000 plastic chairs by the end of the month. In that way, if you're the procurement, you can also find another supplier, work with another supplier. Maybe you can tell them, okay, I just need 5 tons from you. So you need to coordinate, because what if your suppliers will tell you, oh, you ordered last minute, we can only supply you 10 tons. So you find another supplier, and the other supplier said, "Oh, you ordered last minute. We can only provide you 5 tons." Find another supplier that can provide you 5 tons, and you coordinate with them, making sure that they deliver on time. Okay, um, this is how external integration works. Now, another example of external integration is, for example, you do not have your own delivery. Okay, like you can deliver within the city because you have your own trucks for distribution. You can deliver maybe into the next county because you have trucks for distribution. What if the 1,000 plastic chairs are actually orders from Jamaica? You don't have your own boat, you don't have your own plane to ship these 1,000 chairs to Jamaica. Your trucks will definitely not drive to Jamaica. Okay. So in this way, your trucks can only deliver the 1,000 chairs to the next um, logistics company. Okay. Could be a DHL, could be FedEx, or whatever logistics company that you will hire to ship your 1,000 chairs to Jamaica so that you can complete the order of 1,000 chairs for a client in Jamaica. So now your company has to work with an external company, another company that is outside your company, and that is the logistics company. To make sure that, because if you don't work with a logistics company, oh my God, that can be a big trouble because your customer in Jamaica will not care who you deal with. They do not care who is your logistics partner. What they care is that the 1,000 shares will arrive at this time, at this day. So you will have to deal with them that, oh, okay, we're going to produce 1,000 shares by the end of the month. Can you ship them to Jamaica by the first of the month? Okay, there we go. So you need to have coordination. Supply chain integration is a coordination and a teamwork between the departments inside your company and a teamwork or a coordination with other businesses outside your company that involves in the production and distribution of your products. Now, benefits of supply chain integration, of course, if you study which strategies, which or if you also know the timing in the production and in the delivery of the items, you can really cut down the cost. Okay. So for example, if you know that the order is from Jamaica and they need it on December 1, you don't produce in November. Okay, you produce in October so that you can have a logistics partner to deliver it to Jamaica by both. Okay, because it's cheaper. Shipping is cheaper when it's sea freight. Now, if you produce in October, then you are running out of time. Probably by the time that you are able to finish all the 1,000 plastic chairs that is ordered um, for Jamaica, then you only have 2 days left to deliver it to Jamaica. So what is your option for those plastic chairs to get to Jamaica? You will have to uh, send them via air freight, which is more expensive, and at the same time, that will be like a specialized trip because what if there are no trips available to Jamaica in 2 days? What if there are no trips? But those shares need to be there by December 1. So you will be forced to hire a private jet or maybe um, pay extra to DHL or LBC or FedEx just to air freight your chairs so that they will arrive on time. And that can cost a lot of money. So, proper supply chain integration can help you reduce money. If you just know how to plan and how to coordinate things together to make them work, like how to put the pieces together and make them work as one. That is how your supply chain integration should be working. Number two, customer satisfaction, of course, because if the products arrived on the expected date and time that the customers wanted, then there will be high customer satisfaction. Number three, competitive advantage. That is true. Because if you can cut down the cost, then that means you're saving money for your company. If you're saving money for your company, you can use that savings for another investment to expand the company. That's number one. Um, Number two, another competitive advantage is because your customers are always happy because you always deliver on time, then you will have a good review and a good marketing by mouth. And eventually it can also increase to the requests or to the orders of your products because they trust you, they feel that you're a good businessman because people are talking about you. Okay, those are the benefits of supply chain integration. What about the challenges? Well, there are different challenges in supply chain. Number one, technology barriers. We all know that the technology is good, but there are also limits to technologies, and there are situations wherein technologies would make it worse for us. Like, for example, what if there's a power outage, or what if the system, this is very common. If you go to logistics companies, sometimes their system gets corrupted by a virus. Now, if their system in their computer gets corrupted by a virus, not just knocking on wood, what would most likely happen is that the people in the logistics company cannot access your and cannot trace. They not only not access, but they also cannot trace the destination of your products. Okay, so that's one of the possible side effects of technology. That if the if not the power, but if the system goes down, then it can truly affect um, the delivery process, the date of delivery, and even the customer satisfaction, because sometimes the delivery is delayed, or sometimes another product is delivered to their doors just because everything mixed up, just because there was like an issue in the system. The system was down. Excuse me for a while. Next challenge would be organizational resistance. This is very common, since we talk about um, internal integration. This can be a very big or common issue within the company. Organizational resistance. That means the different departments within your company have a resistance to work with each other. Again, this is common because number one, if I am production, I do not care about the cost. What I care is that I have enough manpower to finish the products. Now, if my boss will tell me I need to increase results from production from your usual 1,000 chairs a month, I want you to finish 1,500 chairs a month. So, what will production do? The production department will definitely either increase for overtime pay for their staff to work overtime and deliver the 1,500 chairs production, or the production department will increase for additional budget for additional workforce, like they need to hire more people so that the goal of 1,500 chairs at the end of the month can be achieved. Now, since that is the goal of production, if I am in the finance department, my concern is not to spend, but to save money. So if production is going to demand from me that they will need a higher budget to hire more employees, to get more employees just to meet the 1,500 chairs order by the end of the month. My next question would be, if we will hire more people, what will happen to these people that we hired just to meet the 1,500 chairs for this month? What if next month the order is only less than 1,500? What if the following months the order will be less than 1,000? What if the following months the order will be less than 800? What are we going to do with these extra people? They will just be additional expense to the company because we will be paying for their salary, and they will not be working as hard as they are working this month, because we cannot assure that by next month there will still be the same number of orders, right? So now there is a resistance from the finance department. Then the finance department say, okay, we will give you funding for overtime. So production says, okay, you will not give me funding to hire more people. You will give me funding for overtime. Production will now ask the employees, okay, everyone, we will be doing overtime work starting today until the end of the month, because our order, our goal has been increased from 1,000 plastic chairs by the end of the month to 1,500 plastic chairs. Now, what if the labor union? We talked about labor union last time. What if the labor union members would say, no, we don't want our union members to work overtime every day for this month because you are actually depriving them of their time from their families? No, because we think that letting them work with overtime from today until the end of the month is an abuse, a labor rights abuse. So now we solve the resistance from the finance. The next resistance we need to solve is from the employees. So there's always a resistance, and it's very common. So, okay, not just internally, but even externally. Okay, for example, of an external resistance is, again, let's go back to the example of the 1,000 chairs that is being ordered in Jamaica. And since you do not have your own airplane, you do not have your own boat, you will you will now contract the job of delivering these 1,000 chairs to Jamaica through a logistics company. Now, the logistics company will charge you $2,000 if you want the chairs to be delivered in 3 days, because they have to be there on November or December 1st. Okay, the chairs need to be there by December 1st, so you only have 3 days to deliver these 1,000 chairs. And the logistics company that you hired will say, okay, we will deliver that on December 1, as long as you pay the charges of $2,000. And then, of course, the finance will say that is too much. Let's bring it down to 1,200. And then your logistics management will say, no, that's too low. We cannot, it will be a loss for our company. So again, there is resistance. So resistance happened, both internal and external. Okay. Number three, data sharing concerns. Of course, when you apply different integration technologies or different integration strategies to make the delivery of products faster, you tend to share information and data. And some of these data are actually confidential. Some of these data are actually very sensitive that should not have been shared. Okay. And then complex implementation. Yes, of course. If you mix different integration policies, if you mix different integration strategies, it's very difficult to implement. Now, what are the key technologies in supply chain? Number one, we have the ERP, or known as the Enterprise Resource and Planning. Okay, this is a centralized system for managing various business processes and data. Okay. Next, we have the Internet of Things, the IoT, which is connected devices for real-time tracking and monitoring. Okay. And then we have blockchain, secure to transparent record keeping for supply chain transactions. Then the artificial intelligence, advanced analytics, and predictive capabilities of supply chain optimization. Okay. Steps to implement your supply chain integration. Number one, assess the current state. Okay, evaluate existing processes and identify areas for improvement. Again, there is no such thing as a perfect strategy, there's no such thing as a perfect process. So you need to do, that's why you need to study the process and the procedures annually. In fact, some they study it like biannually to make sure that that process still holds its ground, or that process is still the most effective and most efficient way to process things. Okay. Um, Number two, define integration strategies. So develop a clear plan aligned with the business objective tools. Number three, select technology solutions. So choose the appropriate tools to support the integration efforts. And then train your employees. Okay. Ensure staff are equipped to work with the integrated system. And lastly, monitor and optimize, continuously evaluate and refine the integrated supply chain. So I think if you're going to be asked what is the most important staged in this one, I think all of them is very most important. Okay, especially training the employees, because this is, I would say, this is where the mistakes happen. If you just let technology do its work, technology has lesser mistakes. But if there is human interaction, which it really requires human interaction technology, and if the human that interacts with technology is not properly trained, that is when mistakes can possibly happen. Okay. So now, for this part, this is an activity wherein you are going to study or give me an example of a very successful supply chain integration. So number one, what you have to do is identify the problem. So give me the name of the company, their inventory inefficiencies and slow order, then the integration of ERP. So we implement the ERP system and collaborated closely with key suppliers. Okay, what's ERP? Okay, here we go. So we got cut because of some technical difficulties. So if you have an activity, I will just post the specific instructions of that activity. And that activity is all about identifying a very successful um, supply chain integration program. Okay. Now, how to measure if your supply chain is successful? Number one, at least 20% of your cost gets down. If you are able to save 20% from your usual cost of supply chain management, then that means your supply chain integration is successful. Numbers, number two, 95% on time delivery. So as long as I'm not saying 100% because there's no such thing as perfect delivery, but if you can deliver on time at least 95%, then that is good. And then lastly is 40% inventory turnover. So that means an increase in inventory turnover rate, better forecasting and management. Hello, and we are back to yes. So now we'll be talking about the future trends in supply chain integration. Actually, this is not the future trends. These are already happening. They are already existing. Okay, that's why if you notice the delivery nowadays is much faster compared to the deliveries of packages back in the 80s or the 90s. Hmm. Okay. Okay. The best practices for supply chain integration. Number one, foster collaboration. Again, there is always resistance within the departments and with companies that you deal with outside your company. But if you can foster collaboration within your departments and a collaboration within the companies outside your company, then I would think that is much, much better. Because things, when different offices, when different groups are working together, it will just create a very smooth transition. Invest in technology, of course. You need to invest in technology. Um, Next is focus on data quality. Number why you should focus on data quality because that is how you will know if um, if your systems is correct and there are no mistakes. And then continuous improvement, as what I've said, you may have mistakes, but as much as possible, you minimize it to the minimum level. Okay, but it doesn't mean that your system is really perfect. So there should always be continuous improvement. Okay, so what are the key takeaways? Integration is essential. Yes, it's very important. Supply chain integration is crucial for modern business success. Number two, technology drives intervention. Leveraging the right of technologies is key to effective integration, which is also true. Because how can you process and um, what do you call this? Like how can you process do all these work without the help of technology? So there should be like a leveraging. Then challenge exists, overcoming integration, challenges required, strategic planning and commitment. And then she also has measurable benefits. Successful integration leads to tangible improvements in efficiency and profitability. So that's all for today. Thank you very much for listening for week's 5 lecture, and I hope you enjoy it. Have a great day. Bye bye.